Today's video isn't about Cyber Monday or Black Friday. It's about why Christmas was illegal in the United States and England, and why Christians helped make it illegal. The year 1659. Christians were outraged that Christmas was mixed with ancient pagan celebrations. And Christmas wasn't always this guy, Jolly Saint Nick. That's not how it was always portrayed. There were some versions of Christmas that were pretty much what people call raves, huge parties, lights going, and then there were other ones where people would go and steal from the rich for a day. It was all sorts of different versions of Christmas at that time. So, there was legislation that made Christmas illegal and a criminal offense in the United States and in England. So, even if you had a Christmas tree, criminal offense. That ban in England went from 1659 to 1681, but it went way longer in the United States. Christmas was illegal for over 200 years in the United States until 1870. Now, it became legal in England when the new king came in and said, and threw that out. But in the United States, people didn't feel that way because a quick footnote by the United States. The original people who got here, but weren't the indigenous people, Plymouth Rock, were trying to escape religious prosecution. So they were Christian, most of them, if not all of them, and they were not wanting any sort of pagan holidays. And they felt that there was too much paganism in Christmas. So it didn't change until 1870 that Christmas became legal, but then it didn't just start happening all of a sudden. It gradually turned into what we know with mistletoes, candy canes, Christmas trees. Christmas trees were a thing even in the 1600s. But all that started to turn into what we know today with this guy, and that is the quick history of how it was illegal. Now, if you want longer history and some other versions of Christmas that are really cool, keep listening. Originally, some people took Christmas as a time to reflect and pray. But then in the wild 1000s to the 1300s, they saw it as a time to party. That's when caroling started, mince pie, I don't know if you had mince pie, started, and all those crazy traditions. It morphed into great feasts, gifts, and too much eating. But that wasn't the only type of version. As I'm pointing out, there are multiple versions throughout time. And another time Christmas was banned and made illegal was in the Middle Ages by the Catholic Church because of the pagan roots, but people said, meh, and kept going. Now we have to go back even further to find out why they decided it on December 25th. That was in the 4th century, and Pope Julius I finally settled on December 25th, because the date of Christ's birth is highly contested to this day, as some still believe that it was around January 6th when the wise men went there and everything, but we settled on December 25th, so it's roughly around that time. Then there was another version, now known as Boxing Day, where the rich had to give gifts to the poor. And according to Adam's Rule and Everything, that there was a version where it was called the Bum for a Day, the Bum King for a Day, where he made rich people do whatever he wanted for one day. And it was crazy, but basically theft, but by a holiday. So again, it's all different versions. One a long time ago was a rave, basically, the easiest way to explain it. Major party. Yeah! Another version was give us what you got. And another one was reflecting on prayer. I mean, even even Germany still has Krampus, which is not kid friendly. So in this video will be marked not kid friendly. But Krampus was eating children that were bad. So there's so many different versions. But we finally all mainly settled on one version, which is St. Nicholas. And he didn't come along till way after Christmas started. St. Nicholas came along and he was born in 270 AD, actually, so I was wrong on that. But the history of him was he was a very giving person. And became a very giving person and made toys for children and gave things to people around the time of Christmas. And that morphed into Santa Claus as we know him nowadays, and this is why. Two big stories about Saint Nick in his life during the 270s, 280s is that he helped give a father enough money so he did not have to sell his. It's the 280s, okay? This is first century. Yeah, first century. Or, I don't know. It's the 280s. And he gave the father enough money so he did not sell his daughters into servitude, his three daughters. And then he helped, he got involved and did activism, is what we call it nowadays, and saved three men who were falsely accused from the sentence of death. So those are very good things that he did that we know of during his life. He lived a very long time for that age. He lived from 270 or 280 till 343 AD. And at the time, he was practicing Christmas on December 6th, not December 25th. But nonetheless, he did some very interesting things that I'm not all covered, can't cover everything he did in this video. But his stories of his history spread throughout time and was told around the world. And no one knows if he was buried or what happened to him. Thus manifested Santa Claus, I guess. I'm making a guess there because no one knows where he is. He became legendary. In the 1500s, the Catholic Church went away from honoring saints and started going to a different system, but nonetheless, they still honored St. Nicholas for all the things he did. So that's why St. Nick is known to this day. The Dutch continued to celebrate St. Nick every December 6th, and they brought that with them when they came to America. Hence why the law changed in the 1700s. They knew him as St. Nicholas or Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas transformed into Santa Claus in America. And he got his heavy, jolly features from a poem in 1820, actually. The poem was titled An Account of a Visit from St. Nicholas. In 1881, a cartoonist, Thomas Nast, drew him as a jolly, heavy man wearing a red suit that we know as now. If you liked any of that, please subscribe. That's all I'm going to cover about St. Nick and Santa Claus and why Christmas was banned for 200 years in this episode. But if you like this video, I will probably make more in vain of this. In similar videos, in similar styles. So please hit the subscribe button if you like this. because that would make me so happy. And don't forget to ring that bell. Ding, 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 ding. Woo, yeah. Thank you.